Welcome back to the Exporter Sports Talk Show, live on Raw Radio. Once again, I'm your host, the NFL Exporter. Let's go ahead and hop back into our previews coming up for Week 3 around the NFL. We've got the Green Bay Packers traveling out to the Detroit Lions. This is always a very good game. Now, I know that this looks like a high-scoring affair between Aaron Rodgers and Matt Stafford, two of the hottest gunslingers in the NFL right now. But what we've seen between these two teams are some pretty low-scoring games, ironic as that is. Now, each season is different, but usually when it comes to teams who are in the same division, they're very familiar with each other. And so, this could be a shootout. That's what everybody wants to see. But again, these teams know each other like the back of their hand. Looking at this one, we're going to go with Detroit at home. I think that Detroit has been a little bit more steadier of a team. I think after playing that tough Carolina Panthers defense last week, they're certainly looking to come home and to bounce back. Both of these teams are 1-1 right now. And so whoever wins this game will have a share in the first place in that division early on. Let's go with Detroit in this one at home. Maybe a last-second field goal. We'll go 27-24. Again, this should be a very exciting game. You got to like Aaron Rodgers versus Matthew Stafford. Next, we have the Indianapolis Colts traveling out to play the Jacksonville Jaguars. This should be no match for Indianapolis. Now, again, the Jaguars are going to have to win some game at some point this season. They are playing at home, so you give them some hope. But Indianapolis is 0-2 as well. Andrew Luck and that offense is going to be looking to rebound. Lost a heartbreaker this past week to the Philadelphia Eagles in a game that they should have won. They were up 27-20 with about 5 minutes left. They were well within field goal range, and on third down, instead of just running, playing it safe and taking a field goal to put them up 10, they elected to pass the football. Ended up being an interception. Philadelphia was able to go down, score a touchdown to tie that game, and eventually end up winning that one. And so I know that the Indianapolis is going to be coming in pretty upset. And the Jacksonville Jaguars, again, just don't have the talent to put out on the field to be competitive on a week in and week out basis. We're going to take Indianapolis on the road in this one, 27-13. Next, we have the Oakland Raiders traveling out to the New England Patriots. Don't feel there's a need to elaborate much on this one. You're pretty much seeing what the Patriots did to a backup quarterback on the road last week out in Minnesota. This week, they're at home. It's their home opener. They've had 2 road games. You have a rookie quarterback in Derek Carr coming in for the Raiders. I know there's already some dissension going on in that Raiders locker room. Veteran safety Charles Woodson came out after their loss to Houston this past week and said that his own team, the Raiders, that they flat out suck. And so, I don't know what his expectation is. You have a rookie starting at quarterback. Nonetheless, we like New England to have a strong win at home. Their defense is going to be too much for the rookie. And Tom Brady in that offense, I think, is going to get on track. We're going to take New England 34, the Raiders 14. San Francisco is traveling out to the Arizona Cardinals. Now, in this one, obviously, it largely depends on for Arizona if starting quarterback Carson Palmer is playing. If he's playing, Arizona certainly has a much better opportunity to win this game. If the backup Drew Stanton is in, then obviously that decreases their chances. Now, you have 2 of the top defenses coming into this one, so you certainly expect for this to be a slugfest. What we're going to be keeping our eye on is quarterback Colin Kaepernick. Again, last week, the 49ers were up 17-0 with about 5 minutes left in the first half, and Colin Kaepernick had one of the first, I should say, of his 4 turnovers on the day. And the Bears were able to capitalize on every single turnover that Kaepernick had. He had 3 interceptions and a fumble, so it's going to be interesting to see how he responds to some early season adversity. I think nonetheless, though, the San Francisco 49ers just have the better overall team as long as they don't turn that football over. We're going to go with the 49ers in a close one, 27-20. Next, we got a rematch of the Super Bowl from last year. You have the Denver Broncos traveling out to play the Seattle Seahawks. Without question, this is the most intriguing matchup that everybody is anxious to see coming into Week 3. You have the Denver Broncos, who are 2-0, and they've done well, but their offense is not looking as sharp as we would expect. But again, we're only a couple weeks into the season. Seattle obviously is going to be very motivated playing at home in front of their home fans. Again, they're playing the team that they played in the Super Bowl last year. That crowd is going to be going crazy. Going to be very loud out there. Obviously, the Seattle defense is going to be looking to rebound as they were shredded up. People have been dogging them and kind of throwing them around, throwing their defense around in the mud. And so I'm quite sure that doesn't bode well for Peyton Manning coming to town. Now, the Seahawks have only lost one game at home in the past 2 years. I know that they're confident that they can beat Denver because they did it last year in the Super Bowl. But you have a Denver Broncos team coming in here looking early to assert themselves. This is big. I think this game is bigger for Denver than it is Seattle. I think Seattle understands and feels that they know what they need to do to beat Denver, and if they can beat them again, I think there'll be a psychological edge for Peyton Manning, the ultimate perfectionist. Here's an opportunity to correct the mistakes and for this offense to make amends for that poor performance they put out, only putting them 8 points in the Super Bowl. And so there's some real X's and O's going on here. This is going to be a great game. Man, I really can't put my finger on this one. But if I were a betting man, I would have to go with Seattle at home. I think that they won't lose 2 games in a row. Again, I think that defense and that team as a whole is going to be pumped up. I don't see them suffering 2 straight losses. So we're going to take Seattle at home in this one. Much lower scoring game, though. We're going to go with Seattle 24, Denver 20. We have Kansas City traveling out to Miami. A lot of injuries in this one. I don't know how this is going to play out. For Kansas City, they're without their starting running back, Jamal Charles. I don't know if their safety, Eric Berry, who sprung his ankle, I don't know if he's going to be playing this week. Miami, they lost their starting linebacker, Dannell Ellerbe, in week 1. I don't know. Last week they played against the Bills without 2 of their other starting linebackers. They're going to be without their running back, Noshawn Moreno. And these teams reflect each other a lot. Tough defenses on offense, not a lot of firepower. Both of those teams were looking to depend on their running backs. And, the passing game is more of a short passing game. We're going to go with the Dolphins rebounding at home. I think the Chiefs are going to play tough. They're in danger of going 0-3. But again, Miami being back at home, I think they're going to be able to revive themselves and kind of make up for some things they did wrong in Buffalo. But I'm expecting for this to be a defensive battle, a low-scoring game. We're going to go with Miami 17, Kansas City 13. Next, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers playing at the Carolina Panthers. This should be a pretty intriguing game. You have the Steelers looking to rebound after a tough loss where they did not perform well at all. They lost last week 26-6 at Baltimore. You have the Panthers being a very confident squad right now after a big home win last week against the Detroit Lions. And in this one, we usually would be saying you have 2 of the top defenses in the NFL playing each other, but that only holds true for the Panthers. As far as this Pittsburgh Steelers defense goes right now, pride has to factor in at some point. Because we're just not accustomed to seeing a Pittsburgh defense that gives up over 150 yards rushing, especially in back-to-back games. And I mean, these guys aren't getting any pressure on the quarterback, which is uncommon. I'm seeing a lot of missed tackles out there. They still had one of the best defensive coordinators in Dick LeBeau, but I mean, this defense is just not what it used to be. That defense was dominant for like a 10-year period, and so all great things come to an end. But we're going to see how resilient this team can be. They're in danger of falling to 1-2. Carolina is not an easy place to play. Cam Newton looks to be fully healthy. They running the ball, which is usually a problem for Carolina. They may have some success. And I just like Carolina's defense, Now, the Steelers do have a good running back in Le'Veon Bell. He's looked very good so far this season. Antonio Brown is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. But at the end of the day, Carolina seems to have their formulas for success down. So we're going to take Carolina at home. Carolina is not a team that's going to put up a lot of points. They really look like how they did last year. A dominant defense. As long as Cam Newton can doesn't make any turnovers, and they can put enough points up, their defense can hold it down. So we're going to take the Carolina Panthers at home. In this one, we're going to go 23-16. Monday Night Football, we've got the Chicago Bears playing the New York Jets. This is a game here where it's going to be interesting to see how Chicago can match up against the Jets, because the Jets' front seven on defense is one of the best in the NFL, and the Jets also have a second-year quarterback in Geno Smith. They're a team that likes to run the football, but have not had a great deal of success doing that thus far. That team, right now is still trying to put everything together. I think if wide receiver Eric Decker is able to play in that game, it's going to make a huge difference. Nonetheless, Chicago is the more talented team. I think they'll find a way to get it done on the road. This will probably be a low-scoring affair as well. We're going to take Chicago 23, the Jets 14. And then tomorrow, we had a big Thursday night football game. I know it's going to be crazy down in the ATL, where we have the Falcons hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I like Atlanta to rebound at home. This Tampa Bay Buccaneers squad, it doesn't look good right now for them. They're 0-2. The offense hasn't been able to move the ball effectively through the air. They've suffered some major injuries on defense. They're going to be without their top defensive back as well as their top defensive tackle. And we've seen how explosive that Matty Ice and that offense is out in the Georgia Dome. You're figuring that Tampa Bay really doesn't have too much of a pass rush. And again, that offense just is not going to be able to keep up with Julio Jones and Roddy White. Now, I will mention Roddy White did not practice today due to a hamstring injury, so we want to keep an eye on that. Nonetheless, Atlanta is just the better team right now. Let's take Atlanta 27, Tampa Bay 17. Everybody I know is going to be excited for that one, as the Falcons are hosting Thursday night football. Obviously, that game is going to be televised everywhere on the NFL Network. All right, that is going to wrap up another edition of the Exporter Sports Talk Show. One more time, let's make sure you know how to connect with us online. Again, for myself, you can find me on Facebook, you can find me on Twitter, and you can also go to youtube.com, click on channels, and put in NFL Exporter, or in the search engine on youtube.com, put in NFL Exporter on Raw Radio. The way that you spell NFL Exporter is NFLExporter. To hook up with Raw Radio, you want to hit up Facebook or Twitter. That's Raw Radio 1, all one word, and you spell out 1 O-N-E. And then to call into the show, the number is 716-249-0552. Or if you would prefer to hit us up via email, that is TESS, like Tom, Ed, Scissors, Sam, at rawradio, the number 1.com. It was a great show. I hope that everybody is able to enjoy the Thursday night football game in another week of football for NFL football, for the NFL. Once again, I am your host, the NFL Exporter. This is the Exporter Sports Talk Show on Raw Radio. Make sure to join us same place, same time next weekend, 6 p.m. We'll be doing the same thing. NFL Exporter signing out, 1100.